Today, we're diving into a moment that shook both Buckingham Palace and the streets of London. A scene so surreal it had jaws dropping from Windsor Castle all the way across the Atlantic. Imagine it. September 2025. A sharp autumn wind blows over Windsor's stately lawns. The royal pennants wave in the breeze as Marine One touches down, its deafening rotors cutting through the quiet. Off steps President Donald Trump, life-size, with First Lady Melania at his side, every inch the epitome of serenity. This, insiders breathed, was no ordinary visit. It was Trump's greatest diplomatic show. King Charles III stood at the gates, looking centuries heavy on the shoulders, Queen Camilla beside him. Prince William and Princess Catherine, Kate, glowed with that unapproachable royal aura that always holds the world in awe. Camera bulbs flashed, hands were grasped, history seemed to be repeating itself. But what happened at the final moments of this state visit was something nobody could have written. As the Trumps were about to leave, the helicopter engines already revving, Donald Trump hesitated. He looked not at Charles, not at William, but at Catherine. And with a sly, deliberate grin, he handed into her hands a velvet-boxed gift. Inside, a present so resplendent, so symbolic, that it appeared to bear the destiny of both nations' futures. Word had it that it cost millions, but the real shock wasn't in the cost. It was in the decision. Why Catherine? Why now? While we're getting to the bottom of this dazzling mystery, ensure that you've subscribed and pressed that like button. Because what I'm about to reveal will transform how you perceive this so-called partnership. Let's go back. The week opened on September 17th with a pageant. That was more fitting to a fairy tale than to politics. Charles, ever the calm diplomat, made this personal invitation himself, emphasizing the special relationship in his opening remarks at Windsor. And right from the first step, the schedule was a masterclass in pomp, 1,500 troops marching in impeccable formation, banquets replete with chandeliers and old claret, private audiences where laughter had eased the sharpness of important negotiations. And there at the center of it all, Catherine, back among the limelight after her bout of ill health, glowed like a living testament to strength. Wearing a gown of gold by Philippa Lepley, she glided through the ceremonies with the poise of one who was aware the world watched. Anya, in a sunshine-hued sheath that recalled old Hollywood, followed her step. The two ladies, shoulder to shoulder, introduced an unexpected warmth to proceedings that might otherwise have been starchy protocol. Their relaxed chatter at a Scouts function in Windsor Great Park was photographed. Hands on arms, shared laughter, small signs of a rapport that was developing outside the diplomatic script. But beneath those gleaming profiles, insiders complained of tension. Trump came with an appetite for legacy brokering trade and defense deals. Britain, bruised from post-Brexit volatility and Charles's crusade for sustainability, had to spin every scrap of charm. And that's where Catherine came in as the monarchy's secret ace. Her compassion, her capacity to take frigid negotiations and turn them into moments of human connection, became the unspoken cement holding this trip in place. By day 2, rumors circulated that Trump himself had said, "Catherine's got that star quality, the kind that makes things happen without saying a word." And perhaps that is precisely what unnerved the palace. For while as King Charles entertained Trump for private lunches, leaning on him firmly on climate agreements and NATO coalitions, it was Catherine's behind-the-scenes presence that left the deepest impression. Whether ushering Melania through displays on biodiversity at the Natural History Museum, or regaling with witty anecdotes on her children's escapades at Lambrook, she tempered the rough edges of power. One White House official admitted to the media, "She's not just beautiful, she's brilliant." That line played throughout news cycles. And cueing perfectly, Trump subsequently went on social media to compliment the class act of the Waleses. But Catherine's function was not left to happenstance. Palace sources acknowledged she'd been put in place as the royal family's liaison, their soft power ambassador, charged with modulating Trump's bigger-than-life persona. And it worked. When the state banquet drew to a close, with toasts to an ironclad alliance, the air was charged with potential. Nevertheless, something strange was brewing beneath the surface. At the end of that evening, Trump allegedly took Charles aside and told him of a special token for the family. What was it? Staff murmured in corridors, gossip swirling around the palace. Was it a typical diplomatic present, or something far more intimate? The public sensed the tension as well. Social media erupted with hashtags, swooning over Catherine's lover's knot tiara and the charged chemistry between the families. But not a single onlooker, royal insider, or mere fan anticipated the curveball that would arrive as the helicopter's word for takeoff. To really get it, we have to go even further back. Months prior to all this glitz and glamour, when the visit was merely planned, rumors were already circulating. Post-Trump's second inauguration in January 2025, Britain took a chance to redo frayed relations. Charles, who sought to make himself an international monarch, saw the state visit as an opportunity to forge his reign's global reputation. And Catherine? She was the wild card. Her fight with cancer and her return to public life a success had made her more than a royal consort. She was now a symbol of strength. Trump advisors knew that Trump liked strong women, and Catherine was the epitome of the model. Putting her with Melania was no coincidence. She leaned into the part. During rehearsals, even Catherine joked to William, "Let's show them the monarchy isn't stodgy. It's family, with panache." And panache she brought. From the silk scarf designed with American wildflowers to spontaneous piano duets with Melania over dessert, Catherine added personal flourishes to the pomp that mollified even the most reserved guests. Trump, the showman, adored it. He joked about his controversial 2019 trip, chuckling at the fake news storms it unleashed. Laughter echoed down the corridors of Windsor. But beneath it all were billion-pound trade agreements and rumors of cooperative space exploration on the table. And throughout, Catherine glided like a seam, stitching the narrative together. Her lobbying for mental health programs even prompted discussions of US-UK youth programs. By the departure date eve, Windsor was a pressure cooker of energy, just waiting to burst. It wasn't revealed under chandeliers or before flashing cameras. No, it was done quietly, in an anteroom bathed in sunlight where the silence of Windsor's old walls seemed to catch its breath. The delegation was making its way out, but then Trump's gravelly voice erupted into the silence. "For the princess who is the heart of this house, something from the soul of mine," a midnight blue velvet case materialized in his hand, the presidential seal shining on its top. When he opened it, time froze. It wasn't jewelry, it was legend. Within reclined a brooch unprecedented in the royal family, a sapphire as large as a walnut, seething with that elusive cornflower blue radiance, surrounded by a gleaming ring of diamonds that sparkled like stars in mid-flight. The platinum setting formed into an eagle in mid-flight, and within the moment, the monarchy, an organization founded on restraint, was shaken. Charles froze, his hand over his mouth. Camilla's eyes went wide. William emitted a half laugh, shocked. Catherine, unmoved as ever, touched the jewel with shaking fingers and breathed, "Mr. President, it's exquisite. Truly beyond description." Even Melania's thoughtfully selected enamel bowl for Camilla was eclipsed. This was more than sparkle. This was a tale in stone. Insiders subsequently unveiled the showstopper centerpiece, a 42-carat Burmese sapphire, the eagle's eye, cut by Tiffany craftsmen from Montana's renowned Yogo Gulch mines over 6 months of agonizing detail work. Each of the diminutive diamonds marked a turning point in American-British history, from 1776's independence to 2025's tenuous new agreements. And on the back, Trump's own inscribed phrase, "To Catherine, Britain's eternal spark." From Donald, America's bold wing. September 2025. The brashness was breathtaking. Experts estimated its worth at over $5 million, not only for the gems, but for the symbolism. A gem that sewed together centuries of joint success and adversity, now sewn onto the bosom of a future queen. But news did not remain sealed within Windsor's walls. A valet's lightning-quick text message, a blurry photo taken at the wrong time, and by midday the nation was on fire. Trump's $5 million blinder for Kate blazed across the New York Post and Daily Mail. Social media went wild. Kate Broach reached over 2 million tweets in hours. Fans marveled over her as the real MVP of diplomacy. Others said it was the gift that gives back evidence that Catherine's elegance was more valuable than any agreement. Insiders at the palace, generally tight-lipped, started fueling the frenzy. They pointed out how the design recalled Franklin Roosevelt's 1939 gift to the late Queen Elizabeth, but with Trump's unmistakable taste cranked up to 11. The White House, no slouch, issued a statement dubbing the brooch a token of appreciation for the princess's grace, reflecting the sparkle she lends the world stage. Back in that whispered room, Catherine pinned it to her lapel immediately. The eagle appeared to launch itself against her pearl-white blouse as if already airborne. Vows of return visits came next, hugs shared, and then the rotors thundered. As Marine One soared into the air, the sapphire struck the sun, flashing like a beacon above Windsor. But the shockwaves were just starting. For a royal family immersed in modest tradition, such extravagance was a risk. Was it a success of soft power or a failure of royal restraint? Even Charles, recovering from the instant, was heard muttering to William, "She's done it again!" Turned tension into treasure. Throughout Britain, the controversy raged. Pubs were abuzz. Parliamentarians raised eyebrows. But initial polls indicated 68% of the public supported it, with many hailing Catherine as Britain's greatest export. William, ever loyal, dug in, sharing a family photograph with the brooch shining on Kate's shoulder, captioned merely, "Grateful for gestures that lift us all." The timing was a stroke of genius. Dropped just as they were taking off, the brooch had long filled headlines after Trump's plane landed in Washington. One aide spilled that as Air Force One stabilized, Trump texted, "Nailed it." Kate's the closer we needed. Meanwhile, New York jewelers started sharing secrets. Tiffany's chief artisan, Maria Voss, confessed in a rare interview. "We obtained the eagle's eye from a private safe. Each facet cut to bend light like freedom's glance. The eagle itself softened, wings flowing. A nod to Catherine's fondness for nature. This was never impulse. It was intent, and that's why so many were disturbed. Protocol records revealed precedents, Reagan giving porcelain to Diana, Obama's iPod to Elizabeth, but never on this magnitude, and never to a royal consort. Catherine was not queen, not even queen yet. So why her? Maybe because she had become the emotional center of the whole visit. Her shy vulnerability, accounts of her struggle with sickness, her challenges with the stress of being a parent, had touched the Trumps, who countered with their own stories of adversity. "She gets it," Melania is said to have confided to Camilla. The weight of the world on young shoulders. And perhaps that's why Trump selected Catherine. This wasn't politics. It was a gesture to commonality, enveloped in sapphires and diamonds. But here's the question. Was this a brilliant success of diplomacy, or an encroachment that blurred the line between statecraft and stagecraft? It wasn't revealed under chandeliers or in the glare of flashing cameras. No, it was done quietly, in a sunlit anteroom where the stillness of Windsor's venerable walls appeared to catch its breath. The delegation was preparing to leave, but then Trump's rasping voice broke through the silence. "For the princess who is the heart of this house, something from the soul of mine." A velvet box materialized in his palm. Midnight blue, the presidential seal shining on its cover. When he opened it, time froze. This wasn't a piece of jewelry. This was a legend. Within, there was a brooch that no royal family had ever witnessed. A walnut-sized sapphire with an inner fire of that unusual cornflower blue light, surrounded by a circle of diamonds shining like shooting stars frozen in midair. The platinum frame that took the form of a soaring eagle. And in that moment, the monarchy, an institution founded on restraint, was shaken. Charles stood stock still, his hand over his mouth. Camilla gasped. William emitted a half-laugh of surprise. Catherine, as ever calm, touched the gem with shaking fingers and breathed. "Mr. President, it's stunning. Absolutely beyond description." Even Melania's precisely selected enamel bowl for Camilla seemed dull and irrelevant. This was not merely glitter. This was a tale in stone. Insiders later announced the centerpiece, a 42-carat Burmese sapphire. Dubbed the Eagle's Eye, crafted from Montana's fabled Yogo Gulch mines by Tiffany craftsmen in a half-dozen painstaking months. Each of the smaller diamonds marked a key year of US-UK history. 1776's independence through to 2025's tentative new agreements. And on the back, Trump's own inscribed words, "To Catherine, Britain's eternal spark." From Donald, America's boldwing. September 2025. The temerity was outrageous. It was estimated by experts to be worth over $5 million, not the stones, but the symbolism. A gem that had stitched together centuries of common victory and adversity, now fastened to the blouse of a future queen. But news did not remain confined within Windsor's walls. A valet's hasty text message, a fuzzy photo taken at the wrong angle, and by midday the country was in flames. Trump's 5-minute stunner for Kate shouted across the New York Post and the Daily Mail. Social media blew its top. Kate Brooch went past 2 million tweets within hours. Some fans hailed her as the real MVP of diplomacy. Others dubbed it the gift that gifts back, evidence that Catherine's elegance cost more than any treaty. Palace sources, normally reticent, started fueling the frenzy. They pointed out the way the look echoed Franklin Roosevelt's 1939 present to the late Queen Elizabeth, only with Trump's unmistakable style turned up to 11. The White House, never one to be left out, issued a statement hailing the brooch as a token of thanks for the princess's graciousness, reflecting the twinkle she brings to the world stage. In that quiet room again, Catherine pinned it to her lapel immediately. The eagle appeared to spring off her pearl-white top as if already airborne. Promises of a return visit were made, hugs were shared, and then the rotors screamed. As Marine One soared into the air, the sapphire glinted in the sun, shone like a signal light over Windsor. But the shockwaves were merely starting. For a dynasty rooted in humble tradition, all this finery was a risk. Was it a success of soft power or a lapse from royal restraint? Even Charles, recovering from the moment, was overheard muttering to William, "She's done it again," turned tension into treasure. Throughout Britain, the controversy raged. Pubs hummed. Parliamentarians averted their eyebrows. But early polls had 68% of the public in favor, with many hailing Catherine as Britain's greatest export. Protective as always, William went whole hog, posting a family photograph with the brooch shining on Kate's shoulder. Captioned simply, "Grateful for gestures that lift us all. The timing was genius." Struck at precisely the moment of leaving, the brooch held headlines well after Trump's plane landed in Washington. One aide made it known that as Air Force One evened out, Trump texted, "Nailed it. Kate's the closer we needed." Meanwhile, New York jewelers started opening their books. Tiffany's chief craftsman, Maria Voss, confessed in a rare interview, "We purchased the eagle's eye from a private safe. Each facet was cut to bend light like freedom's eye. The eagle itself softened, wings flowing, a nod to Catherine's embrace of nature. This was never on a whim. It was purpose." And that's what disturbed so many people. Protocol records revealed precedents. Reagan giving Diana China, Obama giving Elizabeth an iPod, but never on this scale, and never for a royal consort. Catherine was not queen, not even queen yet. So why her? Maybe because she had become the emotional linchpin of the entire trip. Her serene vulnerability, accounts of her struggle against illness, her troubles with the stresses of parenthood, had struck a chord with the Trumps, who countered with their own histories of adversity. "She gets it," Melania was quoted as telling Camilla. The weight of the world on young shoulders. And perhaps that's why Trump selected Catherine. This was not merely about politics. It was a gesture of common humanity, set in sapphires and diamonds. But here's the question that really matters. Was it a glittering achievement of diplomacy, or an incursion that confused the boundary between statecraft and spectacle?